If you knew me before, you wouldn't even look my way. If I had the nerve to speak, you wouldn't hear what I say. Time has come and gone so fast, we're not who we used to be.
And welcome back to Sullivan's Unheard Voices. I'm here with Joanna. Joanna, thank you so much for joining me today. So, one of the things I always like to start off right out of the gate is just kind of asking, like, when do you first remember encountering music in your life?
All right. For me,
Yeah.
it could have been from the time I was a baby because my parents were really into music. Actually, did a lot of like bluegrass type of stuff, and there was a lot of church music too back in the day. So yeah, as early as I can remember, frankly.
And then, do you remember when you first started singing?
I think I would say my answer is about the same
Yeah.
because oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I have fond memories of my mother. You know, us going to like barn raising type of events, and she would be huddled off in the corner with all the children playing her auto harp and singing with us. And I must have been like 6 or 7. It's probably the earliest I remember. I might have a kindergarten memory when I was still living in Kansas, actually, of singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star at our kindergarten graduation. So it's just been a thread in my life for as long as I can remember.
And one of the things I appreciate about that in general is that because I know a lot of people that have that similar experience, but it never then translates to them actually singing professionally in front of an audience. So, did you know at some point we're like, I'm actually pretty good at this?
The funny thing is I've never thought that way ever about myself.
Interesting.
I know. People are like, what? No, I've never thought that way. But for me, there are distinct memories. I was probably 8. We moved here to Oregon, and I eventually settled with my family in the projects in Oregon City. But I remember after school one day putting on an air guitar rock concert for for all the kids in the neighborhood. And sure enough, they all gathered, and I was up on top of the picnic table singing Joan Jett, of course, because who else, can you sing? And I would like coordinate. One of the kids there loved the Oak Ridge Boys. So I know, right? Well, and some Eddie Rabbitt songs and stuff, and I would like get little choirs together, and we would all just work through the harmonies and the parts and sing the songs. It's just probably just been in my blood. It's just, I remember in 3rd grade or 2nd grade, being in learning songs like "Blowing in the Wind," "If I Had a Hammer," "This Land Is Your Land." I mean, big, powerful songs. Here I am, a 2nd grader, learning all these words. And at that age, at that time, and then it was time to perform, and I remember feeling like I had this gigantic responsibility to sing and make sure that all of like the parents and grandparents, like all of our audience knew how powerful the messages were of these songs. And it's so weird. I think back, I'm 2nd grade, like kids are usually worried about other things, but for me it was just this very important calling, possibly.
Yeah.
And that I think I naturally was inclined to that direction my whole life. Yes, I was influenced by my parents and everything. And something that was big for me is live performance. My mother would take me to things like Zoograss and all of the free, outdoor concerts that were available around us. And I just was enthralled with the art of live performance. Again, at a super young age. And, I saw this fiddler, Hollis Thomas. I'll never forget her name. Nobody knows who she is, but she's native. But she ended up being pretty much world renowned, or at least nationally known. But she was a fiddler, and for a while there, I wanted to be her. I wanted to be that. I did play viola for a while. I was very good at it, but I was not good at practicing.
That's my one and only hesitation in regards to picking up a guitar. I
Yeah.
don't have the
Yeah.
time to practice.
Right. Right. I get
Yeah,
that.
one of the things that I've established or learned along the way, if you will, as I've started this podcast, is just how much work goes into all of the behind the scenes stuff just to get on stage and do a performance. And it's like one of those things is a mad respect to any musician that plays live, because the amount of effort that goes into that production every time is huge.
Yeah.
And so, like, as you were transitioning sort of into adulthood from that kind of experience, did you always sort of have like bands as part of your life, or singing as part of your life outside of school, or did you like take a break for a while before you got back on the stage?
That's really, really good question. So funny. I initially, so I continued music. I was a vocalist. I mean, it just was my natural instrument. Did a lot of piano, but most of it was by ear. I took some lessons, limited, but enough to be able to play and things like that, and read some sheet music. It just takes. I can't just sit down and do it. I have to study it and practice little sections and things, and then eventually practice and to play 1 2-minute piece. But I can't do it. But yeah, from childhood into elementary school and middle school and high school, it was choir. I was in every choir I could get myself into. So, and then I was a teacher aide for my senior year in high school as well in the music department. It was so funny. I was like, I was super smart, but socially, school was very, 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 from middle school forward especially, but I remember struggling even in elementary school. Socially, it was which I don't know if that'll even come up, could be a later discussion or something, but extremely difficult for me. So it was so funny, like I got busted when I was 14, my freshman or freshman year maybe. I could not handle that environment. Oh my gosh. And I skipped school probably 32 days, full days, and forged letters from my mother, and got really in trouble for it. I just couldn't handle it. But I still got straight A's. I was a very good student. Well, those days I skipped, I would go home or stay home.
Yeah.
Because my parents left for, by this time I had a stepfather and my parents were gone to work, and I would stay home and fish through my dad's vinyls. And all day long, I would like dust the house. I would do chores and headbang to like Led Zeppelin. And he had a lot of old blues, Buddy Guy, and just Muddy Waters, just all of these old vinyls from all these old blues artists. And that's what I would do on my days where I would skip school and stay home. I just couldn't deal with the environment. It just was it was really rough. So coming into adulthood, I continued. I actually started college as a music major at Mount Hood. I was in the vocal program called Genesis. It was like a performance choir, professional performance choir. Shocking. And I was just a hard worker, I worked and worked and worked and worked on my range and my vocals, and just keeping up on my breath support. It's just the whole shebang, and so yeah, it's kind of like, it was so natural. Like guitar, I have to force myself because I do play a little, but I'm still in the learning phase for sure. And yeah, that one I have to like, okay, pick up the guitar and hit a lesson. Vocals, never have to do that. It's
Kind of muscle memory at this point.
it's muscle memory and more. I mean, I work every day, every single day, and it does not feel like work, and I will do it. I don't care how much time it takes. It's weird. Like it's just, you're just so pulled to it. That's probably how you it's probably ultimately, I mean, people can excel and succeed at things, but sometimes you're just naturally drawn to something. And I find myself just doing warm-ups and exercises and breath work without even, you just don't think about it. It doesn't feel like work. It's you just want to perfect that craft or get better and better and better.
And I appreciate that too in a lot of ways. Like with this podcast is what drew me to this kind of things. Like I knew I was never going to be in a band, but I always wanted to be involved in music somehow.
Yeah.
And so this allows me the opportunity to be involved and be a part of music without having to commit to the music piece because I have no rhythm. I wish I did.
Oh,
But it's just one of those things. Like I remember trying to learn drums and I could never get my feet and my hands to be in different beats.
oh, that's
Drummers, man, you all are amazing.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you there. I just can't even. Of course, I can sit down at a piano and work your sustain pedal and your,
Yeah.
but it's just I don't know drums. No.
Yep. Nope. It's never gonna be me.
Yeah.
And kudos to all the amazing drummers there are around here. But another thing too that I'm curious about, as you sort of went from choir,
Yeah.
how about the transition to like sort of choir to like being the front runner of a band?
Right. I know. Right. Yeah. That's weird. Well, is it? I don't know.
No.
So
It suits you so well, right?
don't
So
know.
I honestly, it suits you so well, and I commend any people on stage that have the ability to sort of command the stage and sing their ass off. And be into the crowd and vibing, like you can tell the difference. And so the videos and the times I've
Yeah.
seen you on stage, it's you have a commanding presence. Yeah.
Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, life got weird. Get into college. Was a music major. Um, I oh, stories, we've got them. I messed that up big time in some sense of the term. I was a child that came from massive childhood trauma, like massive childhood trauma. And then it just, I was young. They tried to force therapy and things on me. And it was so, it's so funny. I think about kids that are like 12, 13 and how, they go through stuff and then they're like kind of thrust into therapy and psychotherapy and all this crap. Sorry. And I mean, this was back in the day, and I don't want people to know my age, but this was back in the day where they were like giving you literally little psychological tests with the ink blots and having
Yeah.
you write stories from a picture, and I used to, and here's my attitude back then at that age. I would be like, intentionally, I'd be like, oh, I would make up this horrendous story or, like just think of the worst possible thing you could think of just to spite everybody because I was not in a place where therapy was going to help. And I know this is not so off topic, but the point is I had a lot of stuff that I hadn't dealt with and handled and healed from and everything left over. And man, I'm out there thrust into adulthood at 17. I actually graduated high school at 17. My stepdad had a heart attack. I love you, Mom. But my mom basically said that it was my fault because I was such a difficult child, teenager, whatever. And like literally graduation day, she's like, you got to move out. And they arranged with me to go, or with my grandmother for me to go and live with her. She lived in Portland. And I move in with her and I'm starting college full time. I mean, 18 credit hours. And then I was working full time. It was just hard. It was just a storm and it was so hard and I was so stressed and I had all of this crap that I had never handled and dealt with, and I just fell off the deep end. I actually wound up, here I am working full time, college full time, and writing papers and taking the max. By the way, taking the bus and the max, so 2 hours
Oh,
there and back, and also working. That was insane to get thrown into all of that. I was used to working. I started working when I was 13, and just held a job throughout school, and a lot of times it was full time. So, which is crazy. You think, oh my
yeah.
gosh, how can you do? But um, I ended up on the streets, homeless. I was actually homeless, beginning of the age. I think I was finally 18, barely. And then that lasted, it was probably a year and a year. No, it had to have been 17 to 18. I was actually on the streets, still going to college for a while, and eventually I could not
It's
keep
not
up with all of that.
sustainable.
So, well, when I was a teenager, I met my, well, okay, no longer my husband, and that's very new. So, met my husband at that very young age and just got, I mean, ended up pregnant, got married, and had a kid at 19. All the while, I used to write music. So that's another thing. Written a lot of music, never put it out there, but I've written a lot of music too. And it's funny because my husband at the time, my recent husband, there was a song I wrote, and I was so proud of it because it was just, and I like sang it for him once downtown Portland, and I think it was at O'Brien Square or something, and the acoustics were perfect, and there was nobody there, and he was so critical about it.
Ah,
Oh my gosh, this is
I
pre-marriage.
hate
We were on
gaslighting.
this.
Okay.
I know, and just, you have signs and you don't catch them.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't. I was a kid, literally, I was naive, okay, because I grew up in Oregon City and West Lynn, and here I am in the streets of Portland. And oh my gosh, the trouble I could have gotten into, and I don't know how. I was so fortunate to, so roll forward, I get married, I have a kid right away. And then I had another kid, and I ended up, so no, music took a back burner in a lot of respects, except I would always sing with my kids, and kept kind of writing music, always sang, always playing music at home. Um, I and we ended up kind of getting into church, and so I did a lot of singing in the different church environments that I was in. Did a lot of led kids classes. So then I would lead songs, and it just, so singing never left. Um, Music never left ever, but it just changed, right? And in the tradition of my mother, I started taking my kids to all of the free concerts around.
Yeah.
We lived in Oregon City, and I would take them down to the library. That's where they used to do the free concerts. They wouldn't be able to fit there now because those have grown so much. But yeah, anything I could get my hands on when it was related to music. Eventually, my kids kind of got old enough, and talked a little bit with my husband at the time, and I'm like, listen, this is killing me. This is killing me. I, I think my youngest was maybe 10. Totally dating myself here. He might, yeah, that's about right.
It's all good.
That was about right for him. He's autistic. He's on the spectrum. So that also, it's just like, man, my focus had to be on those kids
Yeah.
for a long time, and especially when I've kind of got a house full of neurodivergent people, which you can appreciate. Yeah,
Can I pause right there for a
yeah,
second? Because I think people listening need to hear this, right? If you're the parent of a child who is neurodivergent, it takes a village. There's a lot of support involved. There's a lot of aspects involved with raising a child who's neurodivergent that if you have a child who's not neurodivergent, that's not the same struggle. Not to say that it's a struggle, it's just different, right? And so I just want to throw this out there. Like, if you know somebody who is the parent of a child who's neurodivergent, give them extra grace. Give them extra, just, I love you and I'm here to support you, because in the beginning young changes of our lives, we can be a handful.
oh,
And I just want to acknowledge that and thank you for for saying something.
Yeah. Oh, it was rough at the time. And he didn't get diagnosed until I was 14. But as a mom, man,
You know.
okay?
Yeah.
And oh yeah. I mean, I went to all the parenting classes and I went to some and they were talking about milk and artificial food colorings and stuff like that and how because I knew like you just know yeah, I mean, we don't, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it's an
know, right?
entire other topic, but I tried to learn and learn, and I would tell the other kids, I'm like, John, even, this is the language I used back then. Before he was diagnosed with anything, I just was like, listen, you guys, your brother John, I know it's hard, but he lives in the world differently. He experiences everything differently. I just knew just by watching him. I just was very in tune with my kids. You know what I mean? Just their skills, their abilities. And I knew that he struggled so much. So when he was very young, man, I got him an MP3 player, headphones for the bus because it was just, he would come home and he was very well behaved in school, actually, but in weird ways. Like he was very, in kindergarten, I remember watching him. Oh, he was sitting crisscross like everybody else, turned away from the teacher. And she was so good. She was a very experienced teacher. My kid, I had 4 children. He's the baby. All 4 of them actually at one time. When he was in kindergarten, my other 3 children were still in the same elementary school.
Okay.
That's how close they are together.
Yeah.
And so the school had 260 students. So all of the teachers, all of the staff, everybody knew John. And they already knew, his personality, what he was like. So yeah, by the time he was in kindergarten, the teachers knew kind of how to work with him, and they knew that he was a little bit,
Just different.
he was different coming
Yeah.
in, and that was the cool. That's why he didn't get diagnosed until later, actually, because the school was so supportive. I mean, I ran a daycare from home, had some of the students from school there. Like everybody knew me because I was a PTO person and I was a I was a volunteer and was always there. So I would bring my dog back when you could do that to visit. I mean, yes, having a neurodivergent kid, and frankly, I had another one who now has been diagnosed as well, but with ADHD, anxiety, and bipolar. So my 2 youngest, challenging, and I have ADHD, probably also on the spectrum, but I was in a different era,
When they were diagnosing based on male pattern behavior. Yep. I'm all too familiar.
my word. So anyway, but
We
yes,
could go
I'm
off on a tangent for hours.
discussing a
on that one.
lot with my therapist about these things. But for me, it's like, okay, I'm different. This is how I always felt. I'm like, I'm different, and I had to just like figure out how to navigate this. Well, what
Yeah,
did I
same.
do? I ended up skipping 32 days,
Yeah.
full days, not including just the classes I would just ditch. In high school because I could not not because I could have hated classes, because I love learning and I was a straight A student. Actually, the principal pulled me aside my junior year and he tried so hard to get me to take calculus and Latin and all this crap, and I'm like, no, because I had all these free credits because I was just,
Yeah.
but no, I just, I'll be a teacher's aide and I will just sink myself into choir because that's a role that I am so comfortable in, singing and being up there on stage. It's like, it's so weird, but you get up there and you know your role, you know what you're there to do. It also comes second nature anyway. See, I'm bouncing around.
No, you're
Okay.
good.
But yeah, yes, roll forward. Married, 4 kids. Finally, I got to that place where I'm like, I have to do something about this. I got to do something. And, my husband at the time was like, okay, I get it, basically. So I looked around and I found this opportunity on Craigslist. This band was looking for just a backup singer, someone who could do harmonies and stuff, kind of like big ear. which is very me. So I answered the ad and ended up in a local original indie rock band and I was with those guys. The Lovely Lost is the name. And I was with those guys for 5.5 years, I think. Yeah, over 5 years. Spent a lot of time in that band. And we ended up, we started out with maybe an hour of music, and pretty soon Michael, it was his band. He was just writing and writing and writing and pulling stuff out of his old treasure chests from back in the day. And just he would have a melody and chords, because he played acoustic rhythm guitar. And that experience was really good, because I was just creating the backup vocals and the harmonies, and everybody kind of just was like adding their part. And eventually I ended up playing keyboard with that band. So then I was kind of writing or designing or drafting keyboard parts to go with it and everything. And it was very nice to get back into the swing of things there. That band disbanded. Such a close, tight-knit group. But there were things that happened in personnel. Our lead guitarist basically started going deaf to where he would need hearing aids, and he just was like, I gotta bow out. He eventually moved across, where's he living now? Massachusetts.
Okay.
So, and then another guy had to leave because he wanted to pursue a family and a career as a therapist and things like that. And so eventually, rather than just keep trying to find new personnel, because the band just would have changed. Our lead guitar player had such a unique sound about him and his style. It would have been really rough, I think, to change. And so that happened.
Because one of the things that I appreciate about that is when you're creating music and you have this sort of sound that you like, and you have all of these people that are sort of on the same wavelength, it must have been such an awesome experience to sort of create music. But then if you're so used to that one core member's sound, how do you duplicate that?
Oh yeah, absolutely right.
Oh
It's
man,
Eddie Van Halen. That's just
Right.
not happening. Or because it was very unique and really neat sounding. Actually, I really liked the music. It was super diverse, which helped me because we did country songs and sort of some doo-woppy slow tunes, and then we did real heavy hitter prog rock type stuff.
That's
And
awesome.
oh yeah, and more pop emo rock. I don't know, very unique sound to that band. And it was fun. I was always the backup or harmony, and there were occasional much further progressed in. Michael, the lead singer again, he wrote a couple songs. He wrote one lead song for me, and then he wrote another song that was a 12-minute epic, just think Yes or Life, just back in that era. That song went from proggy to I had this middle part that was more Evanescence and then we ended it with just heavy almost screamo rock. I mean, just awesome stuff, right? It was great to have that experience, having all of that diversity and having to try to deliver. Now, back then, I don't think my vocals were as developed as they are now. No way.
Yeah.
Not even, although it was getting there, right? Yeah, it's funny. So, anyway, when that was done, everything it was rough, by the way, because, being in music with all of the kids was a little tough because they would end up fighting with each other, and I'm in rehearsal and I'm getting phone calls. A lot of it was between my youngest two, which can make sense, right? Because we've got these two very different conflicting kind of personalities, both of them with real disability to self-regulate.
And different ways of communication.
Oh, so
Yeah.
different. I used to always try to explain to my, the kids, John's, we got it. It's different. If he's like goes into his room, you gotta leave him alone. Then there were challenges because my spouse had zero patience or tolerance or desire to understand or learn or anything about, especially my youngest. And it was so hard. My baby, we would, it's family movie night, and my spouse and John's like running up and down the halls, like doing somersaults off the couch, and he was getting, his dad's like, well, eventually, because I was always trying, I know this, and this is a whole other, we got so many threads here, but this is, yeah, I know. I would always kind of jump in and try to interview and try to stop things before, because he would just blow up. And, John, and even to this day, because John's still living in the home and everything, my spouse moved out. We're no longer married, but he moved out last spring. But 3 months before, there was a whole other incident where he started getting impatient with my two youngest still living at home. Got mad at, it was just another chaotic, toxic blow up. And he got mad and upset with my bipolar child, who was being critical on John, but John was upset at that one because he was up at night playing music or playing on games, and it woke John up, and John like has this rigid desire. He's like, I gotta wake up at a certain time, I have to go to bed at a certain time. Anyway, it just was terrible. Of course, guess what? I'm at rehearsal with a different band that I sing with. And I get this phone call, and it was my spouse, but he's like trying to throw everybody, oh, well, KK's stepping up on me and telling me that I should just go, and it very, very, very awful things that they were yelling at each other. Actually, KK, my third one down, is transgender, so born male, but so there's which my spouse never understood. Wasn't when this argument between them happened, he started bringing that up and being really not nice. I don't know, I wasn't there, and that's the thing. It would happen, and I'm not home, I'm at rehearsal, I'm getting these phone calls. It was a theme that pervaded, and this is related to music, because I did not like to leave my children home with him at all, ever.
Yeah.
And I am so sorry to my ex-husband, but this is a fact, and people that are close to me know that. I really did everything I could do to not leave them home, because once I was gone, there were conflicts, and he would not, even when we had the behavioral support specialist 2 years ago writing up a plan. Listen, if John's, sorry about that, needs to get away and just be somewhere by himself, do not go after him and try to keep engaging. I mean, everybody, it was because we had to do this, because I'm like, listen, my husband he's not seeking any, he's not trying to understand still. And I used to say this all the time, but he would never want to let it go,
Yeah.
Always, John would go back to his room and just put his headphones on and yell, and, oh yeah, dysregulation, yelling horrible things. But he was just yelling. And I'm like, I know you don't like to hear what he's saying right now, but he's just overstimulated. Just the most important thing is you gotta leave him alone.
Have you heard of
matter.
the pressure cooker analogy?
No, but
So with sensory meltdown or sensory overload in particular, it's almost like a pressure cooker.
yeah.
And when I go to leave, or when your child goes to leave, the worst thing you can do is go after them, like you say, because there's two options once we get to that, Everson.
Yep.
We can go to an area and do what we need to do to calm
Right.
down over time, or we're going to flip that pressure cooker lid and steam's going to get everywhere.
Yeah.
Walls are going to get broken.
Yep.
TVs are going to get, like, all of that. And it's not the child's fault.
Right.
It's they're so young in their development, and because of the autism, that's how their brain is structured and how their brain is wired. And so, like, people, if you know somebody who's autistic and they say they need a break, just give them the break.
You absolutely have to. Oh my gosh. And it never happened. And even to that last incident, and this was very close before, I'm like, okay, that's it. I mean, again, here we go. I'm my youngest, who's on the spectrum, who's ADHD actually, is 26. So everybody now can figure out how old I am, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So this was just last year. And this whole conflict happened. I'm at rehearsal. My husband's calling me, and I can hear yelling in the background. And then he's like, John had there's nowhere for him to go in the house because those two were like kind of using the entire house for a conflict point. And here John's thinking it was just because he said something because he was upset about being woken up during the night. I know this is not even related to music, except for this is what used to happen to me a lot of times during the rehearsals. So I did music, but it was really hard because there would be conflicts, blow-ups. John's chasing me around the house with a knife. I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I'm there and I'm like, so yeah, I mean, bless them all. John, had escaped the house, went inside my gig van, and was sitting in there with his headphones on, just trying to get away from everything because, he doesn't drive. He now has an e-bike that he takes around, but he didn't have a good mode of transportation, and he was just sitting there. And of course, guess who goes out to engage with him? And he's just trying to go away from all the conflict to kind of keep himself in a safe place for him, mentally, emotionally, possibly even physically, because of the things these other two were yelling at each other. But and meanwhile I'm get this call, and then KK's texting me, and John's texting me, and I'm having this panic attack driving home because I gotta go and try to diffuse everything. And
you have no idea what's going on there. It's like just so confusing. It's like,
chaotic,
I
confusing,
can only imagine.
And I'm like, bye guys, I gotta go. And just crazy stuff. But so roll back, left that band. Then there were a couple of years that transpired. My oldest two kind of moved out eventually, blah, blah, blah. And I was just itching again to get back out there. And I found another opportunity where I was just going to sing some harmonies and backups for a cover band. Rehearsals were in the Sandy area. This time, it was a cover band. So and that morphed into what is now my band, Floor Mafia. So I started out as a backup. The drummer's wife would always come to our rehearsals because she loved just like sitting there and listening to the music and everything. And she eventually talked to the guys, and she's like, you need to like have her sing lead. And so they started throwing songs at me, and eventually she's like, no, you need to have her do like 50% of the music. So the other gentleman that was a co-lead, his name's Will Barnes, and Will Barnes fronted back then the group Poison Us, which is a Poison tribute band. And he sounds like Bret Michaels, looks like him, plays guitar like him and everything. It was they played Hairfest and everything. So I was so lucky. Here's my co-lead person, right? As somebody that I really looked up to because of his role in the music industry and everything. COVID happens. We actually were getting really good, and we were booked out in all these venues for 2020. Just the year we were already booked, and COVID happened, and just everything was a wash. And he's like, man, you guys, I can't be in this band anymore. His wife had lost 3 different very close family members within that a year time, months actually. He wanted to pursue his own music because he had turned 50, and he's like, no, I got stuff that I've written, and I need to go get recorded. He wanted to start his own project, so he went on to do that. And then the drummer, who was the other co-founder of this band, it was their band, and they hired me. Hired is kind of a funny word here, but they the drummer was leaving, and he's like, Joe, if you want to keep this thing going, it's all yours now. You can have the website. Here's the Facebook page. You could just, here's the ad. Actually, I was already adminning that because I'm pretty good at social media stuff. So, and here's the poster. It's all yours. And so there I am with basically starting from scratch. Actually, ended up by the end of 2020, or it might have been 2021. Yeah, no, we didn't do anything in 2020. Like, the band disbanded. They said, you can have it. And then I'm just like, well, okay, what am I going to do? Eventually I rented a Puddletown rehearsal studio. So hot. But I was used to them because that's where we rehearsed with the Lovely Lost for years. So I knew of them. And yeah, and then, I ended up kind of hiring. I looked around. Who did I hire first? I needed a bass player. I got Brian, who's still with the band. I am just so lucky to have him as a bandmate because he's 10 years in the U.S. Air Force. He's done with the Force, and for the Force, by the way, he was a musician. He played bass.
Oh, nice.
For the U.S. Air Force. Right? So talk about skills.
Okay.
And then for 3 years there, he directed the U.S. Air Force touring band, the one that got to go and play for like presidents and all this stuff.
Oh, that's impressive.
It's my bass player.
Yeah.
And he joins the band, and it was just me and him, right? And did I have Val? No, I don't think I had Val yet, but I ended up getting a guitar. Anyway, so I got a guitar player who eventually left, but I found a guitar player, and then I found a good drummer.
And what's that process like?
It was, it's so funny because it's easy to get discouraged, but I'm pretty resilient because of the crap I've been through my whole life, right?
Right? I know what you mean.
So this is twofold. It was weird because my husband at the time, he was supportive, but he also, by this time, I don't know, I got a graduate degree. I got a bachelor's degree. I got a graduate degree in college, and he started developing a lot of he always had it. Okay, there was some issues, bad. He was unfaithful at the very, 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 very beginning of our marriage. I know I'm bouncing around, but
We're good.
he was very unfaithful at the very beginning of our marriage. And I was a kid. I was still 19. So I just had my baby, and I found out, and it was just shocked my world because I was young. I didn't have any friends at all. All I had was my mom and my sisters and my grandma. So, I'm just like in tears calling my mom, She supported us, but she always voiced concerns. She was married to my father for 12 years, my biological father. He was very bad. He's no longer alive. I went to his funeral to make sure that his family wasn't lying to me. That's how much I'm.
Yeah.
When I was 2 weeks old, I was crying too much, and he hung me upside down this is in the divorce documentations. I was reading it, and I'm like, holy crap. Hung me up by my ankles, and because I was I wouldn't stop crying, and he beat me with a spoon. So, you just go, what did that do?
No.
And that's the kind of person he was. He eventually checked himself, turned himself into the military because he was in the army. I was born in Panama. Turned himself into the military mental inpatient mental institution down there because he was having homicidal suicide. He was thoughts he was going to kill us all. So, I mean, he was bad, a bad person, very, 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 very abusive in every single way. Okay. So I don't need to get into all of that, but, and, you know, all of it, chronically too, for years. Yeah, just, so yeah. I'm losing my train of thought, but I'll get it. So my mom probably recognized signs that I didn't see as a very young person,
Yeah.
in this relationship that was frankly, I might have had a boyfriend or two in high school that didn't really last. I had never gone on one official date. I went on one date once in college with our piano player. That's it. So I just didn't know anything about the dating or relationship scene. So yeah, I meet my husband. By the way, he was a homeless street person as well. He was older than me. We met on the streets. And I just didn't see this. I didn't catch on to the signs. Like now, if I sing a song for somebody that I'm, and they are critical and they're like, oh, I didn't really like it very much. I didn't think it was, right now, today, I'd be like, oh, red flag. That's it. I'm done. I'm not even going to pursue this person anymore. Back then, I had no idea. I just didn't know. I was so naive and so conditioned and wired, right?
Yeah.
To be,
Yeah.
frankly, abused. So, I, yeah, um, so my husband, yeah, there were things, and oh yeah, I mean, it's interwoven throughout our 30 years of marriage. When I was in undergraduate school, or maybe it was graduate school, no, undergrad, I did this, I had to sneak a few credits in, and there was this, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't have the time, and I'm trying to do this all with children and running a daycare. And so there was like this weekend class called, it was a women's studies class, but it was called Women and the Cycle of Abuse or Domestic Violence Cycle. I'm like, okay, I'll just take that. I mean, it's like cheap, easy credits, one weekend and I'm done. Because I think I needed one credit to keep myself at full-time status. And that was like a really good opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in this class and just going, holy shit, I'm living this. I am living this. And it was just, and they had this woman come in and speak who was a musician, actually a professional musician who played for the Portland Symphonic Orchestra. And she had the story she was telling and the experience she was having. I'm like, and he never was violent, not once. Well, didn't do things like hit her, but he did things that I've experienced, like being in the car and you can't go anywhere and they're mad at you for something and they're driving 120 miles an hour on the freeway and you're like gripping and weaving in and out of traffic and yelling and the kids are back there freaked out. And, that is the kind of stuff I experienced. There was never hitting anyway, but that's a whole other thing. I mean, there was one time early in our marriage. See, I didn't see these things. I just didn't see them. I didn't catch it. And they're just little tiny things, and then there were other things, and you just get so used to it, like being critical about how you didn't clean the house enough. He's leaving and going and partying with his buddies, and never didn't come home. And at the time, we didn't have cell phones. I don't know where he's going. And
Yeah.
he comes home mad at me because I was upset because I'm like, where were you? What were you doing? This was after he had cheated on me. So of course I'm going to be like, and but it was like, stop trying to control me.
Right?
And I did.
Isn't that interesting how they use that as a tactic when they're the ones that are
Yeah.
the controlling one?
Ironically, at that moment, I
Yeah.
said, you know what? You're right. Because it's so hard on me. I'm
Yeah.
just going to turn myself into my children and my home and my job, because I was the one working at the time and he was not. And I would have to come home and cook for his friends. Oh, he went through a Nazi skinhead phase.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, I'm like, oh my God. And the only thing I knew to do
God.
was like read my Bible and pray and be like, please God, change him. And he was in that business for about a year, playing Screwdriver. Speaking of music, like music,
Yeah.
Screwdriver is a racist
See, I didn't know
band
that.
from back in the day. That's their name. And he would just blast it and have all his skinhead friends over to my house with my children around. And there, I'm just like, oh my God, it made me so mad. When he first cheated on me, I called my mom in tears. I forgot about this, but this is important because you're like, what do you mean you had your mother? No, I didn't, because
No,
he
yeah.
yelled at me and I'm on the phone with her and he was yelling, this is our marriage and our problems are only for us to resolve. If you got a problem, you need to come to me. He like banned me from talking to my family about anything that I was struggling with in our marriage ever again. And again, I'm a child. I was a child. Oh my gosh, I was such a young kid at the time, even though I was a mom also, but I was just like, okay. I mean, and he explained it, and I'm like, I guess it makes sense if our problems are our problems, and I shouldn't be talking to anyone else. I had to believe him. We didn't have internet. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have information out there where I can look it up and go, is this true? Now I would be typing that in and they'd be like, internet, AI would be like, you need to get out of that relationship right now.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So I started this band, and my husband at the time, once I got my graduate degree, especially, he was just like, "Oh, he would always accuse me, the irony of everything." Because I started getting healthier and losing weight. I lost about 80 pounds and kept it off for probably 20 years now. You want to know why I did it? It wasn't for anybody else. It was for me, and it was because I got winded one day walking up the stairs after, to our apartment behind my little 2-year-old, and I'm like, okay, yeah, no, we got to change this starting today. So no, I wasn't like losing weight to try to attract other men, but that's how he saw it. And then I went to college, and the more further I got into school, and I was talking, and he just hated it. He hated the fact that I had a study group, and we all decided to meet one weekend at this girl's house. Like, he started really cultivating and developing extreme jealousy and control behavior. So by the time I am taking over the reins for this band, while he was supportive and helped and contributed even financially, because we paid for the rental studio $390 a month out of our own pockets, right? So I will give him that credit. Just like every abuse cycle, though, it's hard. And then there are those times where it's like, but it's so good during this time. And he does do
Yeah.
this.
The
But I
honeymoon
also
period is
wasn't
the
allowed
best.
to, yeah. Oh
That
yeah,
period
because
was always the best.
that's that feeling that you want. That's the security and the love and
Yeah. Like, oh, they do
that's what
care
you
about me.
want.
Like,
Okay.
this is the way it's supposed to always be.
Right.
And always, it's like very short lived, and it's just like you don't see it coming because it's like
You don't.
it's euphoric, it's bliss, it feels amazing,
Yeah.
and then just without a word, off the cliff again.
It was so weird. We started to really, I mean, sometimes the kids later, once they're like, okay, yeah, and they would come and they're like, Mom, Dad's gonna go through another cycle. Like, you could really read it. I am so good, and I hate this about myself, by the way. And there's a whole other subject, in a new relationship. Oh God. Okay. I don't want to talk about it because it's very fresh and very. I mean, I do want to talk about it.
I get you.
I do. It's, man, 32. I was married for 32 years. I lived with him actually for almost 32. No, I lived with him for 32 and a half years, 33 years, right? Because
Yeah.
from 17, 18 on. So you just get so used to things. You just get so used to the norm. Other people would be like, oh, kick him to the curb. And I'm like, I don't know. You just deal with it, and you just you start not letting things affect you anymore. You know, he's angry because you didn't do his laundry. He's angry because you put the top bread upside down on his sandwich. Called me from work one day. I'm making his lunch, waking up before him, bringing him coffee in bed, and he's calling me at work because I put his sandwich bread upside down. Probably because I was making his lunch and the kids' lunch before school, and I'm rushing around the house. I mean, but those are little things. That's nothing. I'm like, you just get used to that crap. And now you're like, oh my, anybody would be like, oh, no, no, no. But you don't understand when you're so conditioned.
Yeah.
Just do it,
Yeah.
do it, do it.
Years. And the last thing she ever said to me is, I wish I had married an able-bodied man. That was the last thing she said.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, and the last thing mine was doing was, I mean, we speak now, but was giving me advice. Two things. Oh, you probably have anybody you want. So just go and find an old rich guy that'll just take care of you so you don't ever have to work again. And then, but before that, you need to make sure that you go and work on your communication skills. It's hard. You don't even know how many years I worked on my communication skills because I'm like, well, maybe I'm just saying something wrong. I never came to him if I was hurt or if something he said kind of made me. Because sometimes if I was just bawling and crying and he's berating me, he would sometimes he would get angry at the tears, and it's like you just kind of stop and you just learn to. You're like, yeah. You learn to roll into yourself and withdraw and just dissociate.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's how you survive.
Yeah, that's a survival instinct.
Yeah.
You're fawning, you're freezing, and I did a lot of that.
You and me both. She always used to call it her inner Philly. Like she would always blame it on the fact that she's from Philadelphia, and that's just how Philadelphia, they have tempers and they're angry. It's her inner Philly would have to come out from time to time.
No.
And I just thought I blamed it on Philadelphia. Like, no, she has some anger issues.
Right.
It's just different.
But it's weird because you're like, well, okay, I guess that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, well, I know that he came with an emptier toolbox than me.
100%.
Because of his childhood experience. If I think mine was traumatic, and it absolutely was. His was
10 times worse than mine.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I always looked at him when and I saw the pain and I saw that child in him, and it's hard because I know that there's a good heart in there, and
somewhere.
To me, they're it,
Oh,
and he did when his kids were little. He was pretty good with them as babies, but then by the time they got a little bit of independence, I just don't think he knew how to handle them, just at all. Their behavior, or them being rowdy and running, and even I just don't think he just didn't know how to handle them. Now, there's no excuse, people.
No.
I came from a traumatic childhood, and I was never abusive to my kids like that. So, and I hate using that word because it's like embarrassing, but it's like, well, how could you let it go on so long? People don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand.
If there was one phrase I could eliminate from the English language, it would be that one. Like, why didn't you leave that person? Or why didn't you that phrase should just be uttered from existence, because that just means you don't know anything about anything.
Yeah.
Ugh, sorry you had to go through that.
And even as an adult, having my kids are already grown. 2 of them are out of the house. 2 of them are still in the home though. And there was still like the same damn conflicts and the same cycle. And there was one big blow up last year and something flipped in my head. And I'm just sitting there thinking, you know what? I would rather be poor or on the streets or than to live like this another day. My nervous system is shot. It's shot, and I knew it a couple years ago. I knew it,
Yeah.
I just knew it. I mean, start the band. I know. Let's go forward.
Yeah.
I start the band.
and
we're
we're looking
doing
for a
this.
drummer.
I'm looking for personnel. It is really challenging, first of all, but the resilience that you develop, or there's hard-headedness, or I'm stubborn. I am a Leo. There's, I got some other like different rising and moon signs, which make me a really interesting combo there. But if my mind is set on something, I'm like doing this. So, I would write Craigslist ads. I mean, Brian coming in to the fold was just primo because I couldn't even believe it. But because I had a skeleton of a band. I didn't even have a full band yet. And it was basically just me. And props to him big time. I was very lucky because just having him and my brain was like, listen, I just want the highest, even though I'm over here thinking I suck, but I want to do this. Right. I'm like, my mindset is I want to get the highest quality, the highest caliber musicians I can possibly get in my band. It's only going to make me want to be better anyway. That's the way I look at it. I want people around me that are just excellent. Um, and I and I also want people around me. And this is a big thing because I think a lot of people go for the skill and they forget that you are with these people a lot. And you're trying to make decisions as a leader and a band and I'm a real democratic person and my leadership style is very interesting. I don't in fact, in a crowd, I will always defer. I'll lead by asking, and my style is
Yeah.
just a little bit different. In fact, I prefer to let other people lead. Some of it's because of my latent processing. So I'm in a board meeting and people are talking, and I'm over here, and I'm just like, I can't, do not even. I know there's a lot of stuff. 3 days later, I'll be able to send out a group email and be like, okay, here's my follow-up thoughts. So anyway, so yeah, sometimes in a leadership position, I'm good, but I'm not good on the spot because my brain processes differently.
Yeah, I need time to process.
It
Yeah.
and oh my God, it's so exhausting because it
Yeah.
will take all of the information, and I'm sitting there and I can feel it. It's almost I tell people it's like my subconscious is it's like it's calculating. It's taking symbols and comments and thoughts and ideas and knowledge from it is so weird. I know it's happening. I can almost
No, but look, but so what you're saying is like the hair on the back of my neck is standing up, right? Because what you're explaining is so true to my reality too, where I can feel it going and processing in the background, and I know how much it's taking up in my brain, and I can't control it, but I know it's there. It's such a weird feeling.
just so and very tiring and exhausting.
Oh,
So,
100%.
but then
Yeah.
3 days later, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I
Clears
have all
up.
these thoughts. Type, 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 type. It does this. I do this with everything. I mean, yeah, grad school.
Yeah.
This is my papers. Even my husband was like, "Don't you have a 25-page paper due in one day tomorrow or 2 days?" Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry.
I'm writing it in my
I
head this whole time.
You don't understand. And
Yeah.
well, I mean, and yeah, it's weird because I am not writing it.
Yeah.
What I do is I can go. I'll read all my books. My books are full of post-its. I mean, like
Yeah.
200 post-it notes in my book because I can't. I've, yeah,
Information
it's just
overload coming in.
this is always also the way I've been. If I write something on a post-it note and stick it in my book, then all of a sudden it gets locked in my brain. But if I just read, I can't. I cannot retain. It's so weird. So don't worry. I've done all my research. I've read all the articles, but then I know I can't just sit down and type. I have to just wait. And my brain will work on it. And I have gotten A's on every paper. And I have been sitting there the night before. People call it procrastinating, and it's not what it is. It's just,
No, because we've already started the work. We're doing the work. We're
okay,
just
there
not
you
sitting
go.
down and actually typing it out.
Because my brain's like
Yeah.
synthesizing or something, or it's processing. It's really weird. I can't force it. I have to just let it do what it does. It's the weirdest thing. But the stuff that comes out is pretty good.
and correct me if I'm wrong, because this is the way it is for me too, right? Like if I try to force it, it turns out garbage.
It turns out terrible.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have to let it go through the whole process, otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and by the way, that's for everything for me. So it doesn't even matter what it is. It's, contributions in a board meeting, or, I mean, every once in a while I was called to do a speech, or our MC for a big event for a volunteer recognition thing we were doing. I was part of the Community Action Board in Clackamas County for 9 years, actually. And I had been the chair, but at this time I was like the co-chair, or the co-chair or something like that. So I was like under the chair, but the chair was supposed to be there emceeing. She didn't show up. She got sick last minute. And they're like, can you lead this? Sure. So I had the task of like saying the opening remarks, and for some reason I was able to do that just like that, and I had people laughing. I was cracking jokes. I'm like, I don't even know where this is coming from, but okay. I don't know. Had to present all of the the award recipients and everything, and say a little something about all of these nonprofits, and I just pulled it off. But that's a rare exception. Usually I'm processing and then putting out. Start my band. I know. I'm like, see, this is the ADHD. I don't know what it is actually, but this is me, and this is
us with a normal flowing conversation. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I really appreciate it. So we're getting back to the band though. Like you got in your drummer.
Got in my drummer.
Did you audition him, or did it just sort of you?
No, I auditioned every person we had. Okay. Well, no, all of them. First of all, let's go back.
Yeah.
I have this band, but by this time my husband is in such a jealous phase of his life that he insisted on being at every rehearsal, every audition, everything. He had to be there. He's had to be our sound person, the whole shebang, right?
Because he wants to keep eyes on you.
And I'm just like, I don't care. I have got, like, it's in, and it feels so dumb because really I'm not Jackie Rohr. Holler to Jackie. She's an amazing musician and artist. I didn't think I was good enough back in my teenage years to be like a musician or a performer or an entertainer. But that's who I am, man. When I'm there, it's so weird. Everything goes away. Stress, struggle. I don't feel awkward. If I'm just, I go to some barbecue with a friend or a friend. I haven't had friends. That's another thing. I was kind of not allowed to have friends or go out anywhere by myself, by the way, to any shows.
I can relate to that, but
really? See, it's so
isolation is their biggest tool.
Well,
isolation is their biggest tool.
Right. So, and over the years, and if you So, my band mates also have been my friend. They've been my social connection, right? And then being in the band, think about it. This was it. This was real estate helped. That's another thing that he used to just killed him, because I would go to the office and I would have a coffee meeting with a mortgage broker, and he freaking hated it. But it was like these things I plugged myself into were kind of it's all I had, because I couldn't be like, hey, I want to go, just do this or go to the show. And he's like, well, yeah, I could if I brought one of my adult children with me as an escort, basically. He never used those words, but I would have to, if I wanted to go somewhere, but he was tied up working, or he was going to be out of town on the road or whatever, 'cause he's a truck driver, I would have to be like, listen, even John would come. He knew how important, my baby John, bless his heart, he knew how much I wanted to, go see music. That's all I wanted. Just love music. I love live music. I love it. I don't even have to be performing. I don't care. That's so funny, because people are like, oh, you're I never oh, I'm the lead singer of it. I just love it. It's what I was supposed to do. It's what I should be doing.
And music saves lives.
It does.
You know,
Right.
I've stumbled on music along the way, and one of the things that I've appreciated most about my journey in the last 12 months since I've started this podcast in particular is I've been started to be invited to rehearsals and started to be invited
Nice.
to like practices. And
Oh
so I'm
yeah.
starting to see like how the sauce is made.
Oh yeah.
And that has
Absolutely.
been like worth everything because it's just like I love watching musicians in their own environment creating music. There's
Yeah.
nothing like it. There's nothing like it.
No, no. Yeah, yeah, and it's fun and the energy that happens
Yeah.
there. So, yeah, so when you're hiring bandmates, I mean, some people yeah, some people have their different approach. My approach is I'm gonna have you in, and to me, if you're good, I don't care, you can give me your resume, that's fine, but
Play and can you
can you
play good on
play?
stage?
Stage is important to me too because I feel like there's such a heavy entertainment and expression aspect to it, and it is big to me.
Yeah.
And number two, how are we going to get along? That is because I don't want band drama. For God's sake, I have enough conflict and enough arguments and enough. I do not like conflict. I avoid it at all costs. I don't like the uncomfortable feeling in arguing and disagreements. I'm like, I can't. It's triggering for me and it puts me right up in that fight or flight phase. And then, of course, I just want to go away and withdraw and close in and shut down. And so I can't, so something that was very important to me is look for personnel. And I mean, I've had good musicians, but I'm like, this, early, I could tell I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to work. I can already tell that they're not going to be real workable or real democratic, or they're not. We make decisions as a band, but we don't have to vote. It's kind of weird. It's a really hard way to describe it, but we just are all very kind and good and but also professional. Anyway, it took a while. Rod was a great drummer. Rod Walker plays for a band called River Divide.
Hmm.
Okay, you should know them.
Hmm.
Yeah, Rod was our kind of original drum. Well, yeah, I'd say he's the first guy that was really came and said, "Okay, I'm going to play drums with you guys," and he did for quite some time. He stayed on because he saw that I had this vision, and so he's like, "You got a vision." Because I mean, I was a fresh baby band, and he's like, "No, he could tell our vision was we knew where we were going, and we had this quality expectation, and he could tell I wasn't just gonna be hiring bad musicians and stuff like that." And then and by this time I had Brian, and Brian's just phenomenal. And Rod said, "Oh, he didn't even." I'm singing. He's like the vision, and then Brian, he's a phenomenal musician. We didn't have a guitar player, but then with those two, and they were really good musicians, it was easy to get a guitar player on board. He didn't stay very long, but um, that's also okay. That's also okay. I ended up finding Val after him, and Val,
Good.
older guy,
He's
right?
good.
He was in his 60 by the time but you wouldn't know. He's such a
Yeah.
youthful guy. He's not with us anymore, but and he's
Yeah.
actually not in any band, and it breaks my heart
Oh,
because
that's so bummer.
Val, man, he doesn't tell people this, but I knew this but I mean, he's just very humble. And that's the other
Yeah.
thing. Like all my bandmates, man, we all there's no, you can I hate such a knee-jerk phrase. Zero ego, no ego, but frank honestly, like nobody has an ego at all. We are all humble. We all know that we always have room to grow and expand in our skill and expertise and everything. So we're all
See, that's awesome.
I was distracting that light.
The back
Oh,
of
is that what happened? It's so weird. I get so, see, all that input stuff's like,
So
um,
then, with your current drummer,
yeah, oh my
who is
gosh. Oh my
also
gosh. You don't even want to know. It's just been so hard. I think a lot of people would have been like, I can't do this anymore. This is so much work.
Yeah.
I had Rod. He's like, listen, I'm going to leave the band. So then I had to replace him. So I'm out there and I'm doing auditions again. By this time, though, I had Val, finally, thankfully. Came on pretty quickly after my other guitar player had left. Val's great, but Val, man, he has shared the stage with like, I can't remember the name of the band, but he has played with a band like on Soul Train before.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, he's from
yeah.
back in the day,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So, huge music producer, and I'm gonna forget his name from back at Quincy Jones.
Yeah, okay.
Val recorded with him, toured with him for like 3 years. So this was Val. I mean, but you'd never know because he
Yeah.
was so humble, and that's why his Facebook he just doesn't brag about this stuff to people. But oh, he's on some of Michael Jackson's albums, or is it Michael Jackson or Prince? One of the but yeah, but he's just like trying to remember which one. No, Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz. So, and did he? He may have been on the stage with him, but he definitely was recorded with Lenny Kravitz many times. So, I mean, Val is the shit. And I loved him. He was such a soulful, dirty player. He lost a lot of skill. Not a lot. He lost some skill, though, because something had happened to some nerves and they got ruined and he had to have surgery. And he did so much training. He was out of the music for a while because he couldn't play at all. I think he said by the time he joined our band, he was probably back at maybe like 80% of his ability and stuff. But there were songs he couldn't play. Like physically, he just couldn't play them because of the nerves in his wrist and that connect his wrist and his shoulder and everything. So, but yeah, I love Val. Miss him. I love you, Val. I don't know if he'll hear this, but awesome person, awesome musician. Oh, you saw the videos.
Yeah.
Excellent on stage. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Total shredder, and the way that I am in my band, man, if I'm like, you got skills and you can sing. So I eventually had him covering Purple Rain and covering, like vocally, because he wasn't really the singer. But I'm like, man, we're gonna get you singing some songs. This is the way that I am. I love my musicians, and I love to lift them up and edify them and feature them and pump them up out there in the music world. And sometimes scares me sometimes because I'm like, God, if I do this too much, I'm gonna get picked up by people and maybe be swept away. But you know what? I love them so much, and I believe in them so much. So we're all humble, but yeah, I had to change my guitar player. Ended up with Val for a super long time. Had to get a new drummer, but the thing is, I had a great drummer. And then, like, I don't remember the order, but so I went through drummers. I had one. He ended up, he's like, guys, I am so sorry to say this, but his wife got some last minute. She works in education. She got a last minute amazing career opportunity, but the catches, she had to move to Colorado.
Oh.
And the pay, it was one of those, they could not turn it down. They couldn't turn it down. The next guy we retained oh my gosh, I loved him so much too. And he was so excellent. And then both his parents fell ill, like with chronic terminal things within like 2 weeks of each other. And they lived in California. He's like, you guys, I gotta go back to Cali. I gotta be with my parents and help them. I'm just like, shh. I don't know how.
Can't be mad.
I know I wasn't mad. And then I'm trying to remember who I had after that. I think I finally got John. John, 6'7" tall John, who has never played in a cover band in his entire life. Only ever played in like indie rock bands that played stuff like of Monsters and Men and Coldplay, that type of music. That's his But, he comes in for the audition. And we had so many auditions. Of course, all of these guys, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this ever going to end?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of work to schedule everybody, to come up with the audition set list. I mean, I've been using the same one for all my players for years. Our band is extremely diverse because we've got disco, and if you're drumming, you better play a disco. And I know drummers hate disco with everything they've got in them, but I don't care. We're playing these disco tunes, and they're going to sound like disco songs. So I have very high expectations because I don't want a classic rock drummer coming in oh yeah, I know that song, I can play it, and then they're coming in playing a standard 4 on the floor to a disco tune. It's not going to fly with me.
That's not going to work. This doesn't add up.
And some of them, I even would tell them, listen, you don't understand. Or like the jazz guys, I'm like, okay, you listen to me. We play Guns N' Roses. We play, whatever it is. We play some rock. We're not playing. Actually, there was a Kiss tune. Well, but it was the disco Kiss tune.
Right.
But, we play rock, so you got to come in. You got to be a heavy hitter on some of these tunes. You can't just be a jazz guy.
And you have to be able to switch, too.
You have to be diverse as an instrumentalist or vocalist, right?
Yeah.
Some guys are like, oh, yeah, I know that song. And then they'll come in, and I've had all kinds. I've had jazz players be so freaking pretentious and not even listen to the song or not even work on it and be like, oh, I know that song. And then they come in, and I'm just like, you cannot, to me, there's an iconic triplet. I know it sounds so funny, but when I'm hiring personnel, I am looking for certain standards. And I'm not going to tell them what I'm looking for because this is one way I know this is how I know they care. And because everyone does know, hey, listen, I really want, the songs to sound pretty close to their original. We have some liberty, and there's some things we kind of make our own because they're, very digitized or something, like Shake It Off, or probably our most digital song that we play, we replicate is like, gosh, not even Shut Up and Dance. It's a No Doubt tune that we do. Keep on Dancing.
Oh, yeah.
That song is synth everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So, we make that our own for sure. But it sounds like the song, except for we definitely have to make it our own. And I want you to care. But, I tell everybody, there's going to be freedom, and you're going to get solos if you want them. I love throwing solos out to people. I like featuring them. I'm so proud of these guys, you know what I mean? So I want them in the spotlight.
Yeah.
I hear that's another Leo thing, but it's just as me as a person,
But it makes for good music.
It sure does.
And one of the things that I love when you're watching somebody perform live is when there is intentionality about including everybody on that stage.
Yeah.
And letting them shine.
Yep.
It leads to the best music possible on stage.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I love is when you see that because just the idea that you can capture 5 distinct personalities or human beings and get them on the same stage, playing the same music with the same intention and the same musicality all at the same time is impossible by any metric standard. But yet, when musicians do it all the time.
They do. Yeah.
Music should not exist. If you think about humanity and you think about like how difficult it is just for 2 people to get along.
Yeah.
But somehow, despite the odds, despite whatever, we as humans have been able to manifest this thing called music.
Yeah.
That is just, I'm in awe.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm in awe.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think there's a lot of it has, your intention going in is important, I think. Because I've never had, I never have any problems ever with my guys. There's no conflict ever. So I know. I'm so thankful, but it's the people, I'm part of it. I have good guys. Brian's such a my bass player Brian is such a good person. He's got just loyalty, just excellent musicianship, but just a nice person, right? He's from Wisconsin, so there you go. And they've only been in Oregon, for 5-6 years now or something like that. But yeah, just before COVID, they came over here, and he lives in Milwaukee with his 3 children, younger kids. His oldest is, I'm going to get this wrong. Oliver, I think, is 11. So, and yes, I've met all his children, right? I mean, it's just, I love my band family. The DFM fam is what we call it.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, Val, great guitar player. Finally got John, drummer. But man, he came in for his audition, and I've had guys come in, jazz guys come in and just blow everything. And I mean, Berkeley educated, and and so it doesn't matter. I'll give everybody a fair shake. I'm going to give you the songs. Here's what we're playing. But if you're going to miss that iconic triplet in, Hella Good's the name of the song.
Yeah.
You make me feel it. There's that do. I mean, I know you're like, trust me, when you're a listener, if you know that song and you don't hear it on stage, you notice it.
Yeah.
It's like if you cannot play Sweet Child of Mine, you can't screw that song up. As a guitar player, you have to have like if I didn't have who I have, we would not do that song. I'm not going to have anybody cheating it. I wanted to hear it verbatim because everybody in the world knows that song, and they know that iconic solo and
that
everything,
sound
right?
is unlike any other.
There's a tone. That's a whole. So, my guitarist Val, we wouldn't have had that song with him. He can't play it. My guitarist Chris, verbatim, he nails it. People literally are like falling down worshiping at his feet when we play that song. It's so funny. The only other guitar player I've ever heard play that correctly, I mean, even close enough, right? Because people kind of play it, but they skip over notes. I hate that because you can hear it as a listener.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing, I think. That's another thing I think that helps. I am such a consumer of music. I mean, every weekend I go out. And I'm out going to indie rock shows. I'm going to cover shows. I'm going to tribute shows, festivals. I'm there. I want to go. I want to learn. I want to watch these guys. I want to know. But I also just love it. I want to dance. Yeah. I'm a big dancer. I will dance to just about anything. I am out there dancing to Led Zeppelin stuff. So, from my teenage years, hell yeah, I was dancing by myself in the house, doing chores, dusting the piano to Led Zeppelin. So if there's an ability to get out and dance, I'm doing it. So I am a consumer. Which is probably why I don't know. Yeah, I get up there and play, but I just want to deliver a product for people, and that makes them happy and gets them out dancing the way I would be and am on stage. I cannot help it. I'm not one of those that stays still. I just thank God I have a remote or a wireless microphone because I'm all over the place. And
that's one of those things where you can tell when musicians are just on stage phoning it in. And you can tell the musicians that are on stage no, we are in this, we're doing this, we're live, and that's what I appreciate about you is that you are not stationary. You're not just this singer who just yeah, I'm here, I'm gonna sing, and then no, you are involving the audience. You're all over this. It's so much fun.
It's hard to stay still. It's hard. First of all, it's hard to stay still.
Yeah.
As a being, as a person, and then there's we're playing all this music that, I don't even necessarily like it. Trust me, I sing so much stuff that I don't even like. Or the guys will be like, oh, let's do this. And I'm like, did you even think about who has to sing this stuff? I'm like, so who's singing this, guys? Well, I thought you would do it. Okay, my word. They've got a lot of faith in me. Those guys. It's cute. But, Val, so we had that drummer John, but then the struggle of keeping musicians, and not for me, it isn't because they're like, that's it, I'm leaving, none of that, because we just, once they're there, my drummer John came on and he was so good. he never did a cover band, but man, he played with us for his audition, and everything was perfect. He had done his homework, he had studied, he came with notes for himself, and he just nailed it. Like, we ran through song after song after song. We didn't have to stop. We didn't have to, it was like, and my bandmates and I were just looking at each other like, oh yeah. I mean, I could, and well, the one thing was his personality was so subdued that it was like, I don't know if he hates us, likes us. I'm trying to read this guy, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know where he's sitting in his mind, but I reached out to him. I'm like, man, if you're interested. He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, oh thank God. It was weird. It was hard. Like, but he was he actually started coming out of his shell. Like, he was afraid to play solos, and he was afraid to try his own, like, unique approach to certain things, which I'm totally fine with. If the basics are there, yeah, don't ever, like, those triplets in Hella Good have to be there.
Yeah.
For instance, Dolly Parton, we play 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton. I want that country, some of the drummers will be hitting the rim of their toms. I think it's their toms, or their snare, maybe the snare rim or the tom rim. I think it's the snare. Yeah, I want that country kind of clackety sound. But I never tell anybody that that's what I want to hear. I want these guys to figure it out. And that's one thing. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to play. This is how I know you're going, listening to the music and going, okay, what can I play here that's going to be musically effective or make this sound like a country song, even if I am a jazz artist or a, original indie rock folk musician, drummer. And he came in and he just nailed that Dolly Parton tune. And some guys come in and I'm like, oh my God. They're like, nooch, nooch. I'm like, it's a country song. And it's
yeah.
In my head, I'm thinking, I already know. I already know. So he nailed it. He's a good drummer. We had him for about a year, or maybe a little more. One day he's like, oh, by the way, I had one drummer rehearsed with us for about a month, and then this was my first drummer, who actually played drums for the original band that I was in for years. And I reached out to him. I'm like, man, would you consider just being with us, this cover band? Because I knew he had done cover bands in Texas. Anyway, yeah, he's like, I'll give it a try. And he was like, oh my gosh, I love this. Yeah, I'm sticking it out. He's so good. He's natively, actually, a metal drummer, screamo,
yeah,
that type of stuff. But he's versatile, and he can flip around and play a country tune like nobody else, or disco, or so he was very good. But he had to leave and this was right before COVID. So I started the band and I was trying to do rehearsals. I was trying to get things going. It was very early, and he was like, his wife, or a girlfriend at the time, they're married now, she got an opportunity to go to New Zealand and work there. And he's like, I cannot turn this down.
Yeah.
They were paying for them to move, paying for a housing stipend.
Yeah.
And so I lost him to New Zealand. Well, roll forward, I have this other drummer, John.
The one you have now.
One day he's like, no. One day he's like, I've gone through so many drummers. It's like, oh my gosh. One day he's like, you guys, I got news. At the time, his announcement was that his wife was taking a very long, extended sabbatical from her job. And they decided that they wanted to spend about 6 months in New Zealand. And as soon as he said that, my heart sank. Because it was, he's presenting it as though it was going to be a temporary thing. But on the inside, I already knew. I knew. I'm like, they're going to go and they are not coming back. I knew it for some reason. And sure enough, and I told the guys, I'm like, I know he's saying he's not. I know he's saying he's coming back, but you guys, you just trust me. My instinct, my gut is saying that he's gone. He's taken the kids and wife, and they're not coming back. And I was right. Thankfully, I knew we had an interim drummer for a while. Actually, for 9 months. The 9 months, But I eventually had to hire a drummer. Now, I liked Keith a lot as a drummer, but there were a few small things. Like as an interim drummer, he did wonderful, but personality and he was a great guy. But every once in a while, there was a little, okay, I'm going to use the language, there was a little red flag as far as getting along and being a workable person. And the meeting being a little upset because we had standards I wanted us to meet, because I was trying to explain. He was a little obstinate about certain things, and there was one conflict between him and my bass player Brian. I mean, it got so heated, Brian had to step out of the room, and everyone just like stops, and I'm just over there going, and then my guitar player, Chris, now, he's over there going, because he and I both just are so conflict avoidant. We're just over here going, freezing, I don't know what to do, this is uncomfortable. And then it happened again once during a rehearsal where Brian wasn't there, because Brian's a military guy and he's very good at handling all this conflict, right? Because of all his training and skill, and I am not. And Keith got into it with me, and I'm like, let's just drop it. Never mind. We'll just do whatever you want to do. I'm just like, it's fine. We'll drop it. We just do it the way let's just do what you're saying, and it's fine. It's fine. It's not worth. And he kept trying to engage in this he kept bringing, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to engage. It's okay. We're just going to do it the way you're suggesting. It's fine. I don't want to talk about it anymore. And I kept, and that was when I'm like, I can't, I love him to death. He's actually doing a pretty good job, but I can't. And I know he wanted to stay on with us permanently. And it would have been good for me, because he's a stage manager for JFL Productions, and he's married to Cheryl, and she is the assistant manager for Hairfest. I mean, it would have been very good for me to keep him on, right? From a selfish, if I'm plugged, if I got a JFL person plugged in with us, that's going to keep us under JFL's radar, and hopefully, but I was just, I can't do it. I couldn't. And I hated it. And I did feel bad, but I cannot, I don't want to worry. I don't want to go to rehearsal and worry that we're going to have arguments and conflicts, and I'm going to have bandmates stepping out of the room to cool down. I don't want that. I worked very hard to get it not like that. So then I had
away with the muse.
It really did. Yeah, because it actually took time, and the argument was always over something in the music, and it was like, God, please, Brian is my designated musical director. This is when we actually had to go, start going, okay, establishing roles. I never had to do that before, but because I could tell that I was having some pushback on stuff, so I'm like, well, I'm going to divert to Brian because he's my musical director, and you can't argue with him. He was a professional musical director for not only the Navy band, but also another cover band that he ran in Hawaii. So and Chris is my second musical director, because Chris also has years of experience. That's the other thing, being a director of a cover band, and he has a music degree. Both of them do. So I'm going to divert to them, and they are the ones that make the ultimate final decision on the music. But there was still that pushback, and I'm like, I can't. I just couldn't do it. And it crushed me, because I love Keith as a person. I love his wife, Cheryl, too. I just love him to death.
Sometimes just creativity, it's just not the right place.
Or, as far as personality-wise, it wasn't a very good fit, just because of that little bit of, I can't have it. I cannot have conflict in my rehearsal room. I can't. And I know people are like, oh, it's just, no, you don't understand. Part of it is because of having to protect my own mental health, also.
Yeah.
And
Which is
and Chris, my guitar player, because he and I have some shared experiences as far as some things. So, and he's the same way. He's like, so we're all very peaceable, very gentle with one another. We joke and laugh, couple more things on that. I know we're going on forever.
No, we're good. We're good.
Couple more ideas on that is, my bass player Brian is still in the Guard, so he goes on drill once a month, and he does have 3 young children. And man, during the summer he is busy. He's gone camping, doing trips. Once a year he goes on a 6-week training, so he leaves the state and he's gone. And actually, pretty soon here, he's going to be gone for about 6 months, from November
No,
from
he's
November
gonna
to
go to
April.
deployment.
From November to April, he got invited to do some very special training. It's going to be an incredible career boost for him in the Navy,
Yeah.
which he needs desperately for his family and for himself. He's like me, he's got a graduate degree, and people just aren't hiring him. Graduate degree in cybersecurity, now going on 10-year Navy, Navy. I keep saying Navy, U.S. Air Force veteran, even though he's still in the Air Force Guard, and he cannot get a job around here. It is in cybersecurity, what he's educated, trained in, and he's phenomenally intelligent. It's killing me, by the way, because he's a vet, first of all, and he's struggling. Thank goodness his wife is, I think, a nurse or something like that, so she makes good enough money to kind of keep them going. But oh my gosh, that's a whole other. The way we don't take care of. I mean, the the Air Force is trying to take care of him. They've got him right now working. It sucks though, but they're like, we have this job you could do, but he has to be at the coast Monday through Friday, away from his family. And this has been going on for about 7 months. And then he can come in on Friday on the weekends. He comes in on Friday night, and then he has to leave again on Sunday night to be with his kids. But they have I know the strain on him and his family, and he hasn't gotten to play with us much, but boy, every time he does, he's like, oh my God, I love playing with you guys so much. He misses us and we miss him. But anyway, so yeah, having him leave for 6 months is going to be so hard. But knowing all of this, he said, you know what, guys, we might want to, because we kept having to sub him out, because he's like, I don't want you guys to miss gigs because I can't be there.
Yeah.
And he's like, with my total blessing, you guys, we need to start looking for like a second bass player, a second permanent bass player. And so we started on the hunt, and we're auditioning people, and we're like, oh my God. All these, either they were really great, but then they were snobby guys and just talking themselves up. So there's ego and snobbery, and one guy was so plugged into so many other bands. I'm just like, I'm thinking,
How do you have time for this?
I already struggle scheduling us, and then having another really difficult musician schedule to work around. I'm like, man, there's got to be somebody out there. And I do a little bit of singing work and stuff with this other band, but it's a real small kind of side project. And it started because I wanted to start doing some volunteer singing for like senior centers, nursing homes, that type of thing. And I answered an ad. This one smaller band in Oregon City was getting ready for a Christmas type of thing, and they were wanting another female voice to add, ideally a higher female, like maybe soprano type of female voice, because they're all guys. And then they had one girl, she's very low alto, so they kind of wanted another vocal range to add. And but it's just volunteer. They're like, hey, we're just doing like singing a thing at a Christmas thing at the senior center. And I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
So, I went there and was doing some rehearsals with them. And, all older guys, phenomenal musicians though, of course.
Yeah.
And, the day of our performance comes, and, I have equipment. I have an analog system, and I'm like, why don't we use my system? Because there's a lot of musicians, and that way we can all kind of just go through mine. You guys don't have to worry about bringing all your tiny amps and everything. And I get there, and I knew we were having a sub bass player that day. And I pull up, and I open my gig rig by this time. I think I had it by this time. No. But, whatever I was driving, open it up, and I'm getting ready to, pull out speakers and the mixing board and everything. And some redheaded, bearded guy walks up and he's like, well, hey, I don't think I've met you, but I'm Dave. Are you Joe? And I'm like, yeah. And right away, I'm like, I could tell immediately. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, I'm stepping on bass with the Douglas Firs. Shout out to the Douglas Firs today, for this thing. And he's like, can I help you unload? I'm like, oh yes, thank God, because the speakers are so heavy. And
Yeah.
these older guys, I'm like, oh, and I like try to carry everything so they don't have to, I don't know. And he was just so nice. And there's a word in yoga and in some of those Eastern practices, and it's namaste. And the word translates to spirit recognizes spirit.
Yeah.
And right away, like, I feel like I can tell people, I can feel them. Maybe it's because of a lifelong of having to like be able to read people, but right away I'm like, oh, he's good people. I could immediately, I knew. And he's an Indiana boy, so sure enough, but he was on the East Coast for a while before he came to Oregon. But he was kind of a newbie here to the States. He didn't know anybody. He talked to me a little bit, and right away I'm like, I didn't even care. I'm like, he plays bass. I don't care. I don't even know him. I don't know his skill level because the music we were playing was a little simpler, all four on the floor, all Steve Miller,
Okay.
Beatles, and just fun stuff. Stuff I love, just singable, sing along stuff, right? Tom Petty. So, but I'm looking at Dave, but it wasn't that. It was, again, to me, personality is equal to your skill, right up there, and I just, and I find out he's vegan. I'm a vegetarian, almost vegan. My guitar player, Chris, is a vegetarian, practically vegan. So then there's this whole other, like, oh God, there's so many things. Right away I knew. I'm like, would you, I run a cover band. Would you be interested in auditioning with us? And I flat out told him, your personality, I could tell he was 30s somewhere, later 30s. My bandmate Chris at the time was 29. I'm like, I could tell, he's younger. He's between. I'm like, he's my other bass player Brian, also late 30s. I'm like, okay, just personality right away. I'm picking up on all these cues, right?
Yeah.
Like, he would get along so well with my guys. I could already tell. And he's like, well, heck yeah. And, you know, um, yeah, just no turning back there with him. He wasn't ever really a bass player. He was actually kind of more of an acoustic rhythm guitar player. But he could hold his own on bass. Maybe originally wasn't, I love you, Dave, but he knows this, so it's fine. Wasn't the best bass player in the world, but it's like one of those things where personality and just his genuine realness just absolutely overpowered anything that might have been a little lacking in his skill and stuff. And believe me, he is growing and getting better and better and better. Now he's plugged into a couple different jazz bands and
That's awesome.
around town, right? And he does all the, he went four string, and then he's like, I'm gonna get a five string, and then he's like, what? Now he's playing a six string bass and throwing down solos, and I'm just like, shh. He doesn't slap yet. Brian's a slap. Mm.
Yeah.
Dave's not, but he has a little bit of a different style. He's kind of a slider and a little more jazz influenced after hanging out with these musicians. But that's the thing. You don't have to be great. You have to want it. You have to want it. You have to be willing to put in time, and you got to surround yourself with people that are better than you, because you're gonna get up there. You're gonna climb to that level, and he is. Like, I'm really impressed at how far he's come. Originally, his solos were like, and so we've kept them really short. But now it's like, just,
Go to town.
16 bars, have it. We'll just, let us know when you're ready for us to. So it's kind of cool to see the progression in him too, actually. Just wonderful. Like, if you're like, when he says, "Hey, if you need anything, if you're running into a problem, if you're having a rough day, call me." He is not kidding. When my spouse blew up on me that last time one morning, and it was because I was talking to my guitar player on Facebook, and we were talking back and forth, and we're like floating out the idea of to putting together a band camping outing. We all love camping. Spouse was, by the way, invited to everything we ever did. Okay, he was always welcome, but he saw that and he became livid because of all of his jealousy issues, and he's like, "You guys are doing, you're doing." He accused me of doing it on purpose because he knows he hates camping with every inch of his being. He hates it. I love it. I've never gotten to go camping hardly ever, ever, and I just, it's one of my favorite things in the world. And so we were planning a band camping outing. He didn't even have to camp. We could have. We were only just floating around the idea because we had been talking about it as a band. We do a lot of. It's another thing. We do band outings together.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh man, we go to shows. We go to each other's. If Chris, I went last night. He was playing last night with another band that he's in, an original rock band, by the way. And they play very Chili Peppers, kind of prog, jazzy rock. Oh, they are amazing. They're actually going to Brazil in January because for some reason they've got this gigantic following in Brazil of all places.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I know I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna go now. They just got offered a record with a company in the United Kingdom, and I'm like, yay! I'm so happy for you guys.
Don't leave.
My guitar player and my bass player now, Dave, and my guitar player now are like my best friends in the entire world. I mean, I didn't have anywhere else to go. And one day last year, I'm like, you know what? That's it. I'm done not having friends. I need friends. And then these two people or a year and a half, 2 years ago, people kind of walk into my life, and I'm just like, and they're just nice. I can talk to them about anything. Dave's like, call me about anything. So yeah, twofold band outings. We go to shows. We did it was so fun. We did a Tenacious D watch party at Brian, my bass player's house. It was so fun, and he made homemade pizza because he's got this fancy outdoor pizza oven now, and oh my gosh, I know. And then we're like, I make really good homemade pizza too, New York style. So we're like, we got to do a cook off, and we, like I had a holiday 2023. I threw a holiday party after Christmas though. I'm like, okay, everything's slowing down. Nobody has anything to do, so I hosted a absinthe party at my house. If you're familiar, I'm not a proponent of it. I'm not pushing alcohol, but it's one of my favorite. Chris and my guitar player. It's our favorite spirit in the entire world. And the guys are like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I'm like, turn the lights off, and I'm like, because I do the whole, you light the sugar cube on fire. It was so fun. And there's a song that I don't know. It was a thematic party, and we played Cards Against Humanity and just laughed and laughed. Like, yes. So we stay very close as a band. We absolutely do. After my separation, before it, my very jealous spouse blows up on me that day, and he's like, "I don't want you anymore. I'm leaving." And of course, he didn't say it nicely. He was screaming at the top of his lungs in our bedroom at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was asleep, and I got jostled awake, and he's yelling, and you're just doing this so you can, because I hate camping, and I'm not going to want to go, and that way you can just spend more time with. I'm just like, okay. I was terrified. That's what caused me to be like, that's it. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have been married for 32 years. I've been loyal and faithful to you for decades, and I've been putting up with this, and I've forgiven and forgiven and forgiven. And this cycle of abuse is never going to stop on his accord. The only thing that's going to stop it is if I stop playing my part in it. Because then he's like, oh, I'm sorry. What can I do I'm like, I don't know. I said, I have to do something different. And this is the only thing that I can think of is just say, no, I'm not going to just be like, oh, okay, not right, not now. Not
Yeah.
that I'm not going to forgive you, but I am not going to invite you back right now into relationship because I'm not doing this ever again, ever in my entire life. I can't. I cannot do that. I cannot let my body or my being go through this ever again. I'm just so done. I've so had it. But that day, but then he takes off for work and I'm just terrified and I'm calling Dave, my bass player, because he said, anytime you need me, and I'm calling him and I'm just like, Dave, this happened. And Christian said he's going to, this is what he said. And I don't even know what's happening right now, but he just blew up and this and that. And at this time Dave was kind of in the dating scene and he was so excited because there was a girl that he had kind of been arranging a date or two with. And he's like, Joe, I have a date today, but he said, Joe, I need to come and be there with you. I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to cancel with her so that you have somebody to be with you today during this really, really. Now, I didn't let him do that, but he would have done it.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of person he is. And, I mean, I'm so lucky to have these bandmates of mine that I've got. Oh, my word. And it went forward from there. My bandmates have my back big time through this. Because after I finally said, listen, I cannot, I can't do this. I can't have you living here right now. So my husband moved out, got in a place of his own. I'm just like, just let me stay in the house because I've got John who's on the spectrum. I've got all these animals, lizards and birds and cats and dogs and guinea pigs. And it's just like, I don't want to I can't just uproot everything. But I cannot be in physical proximity to you. I can't. I won't do it. I think I was just shot and a switch flipped in my head. When he said, I don't want you anymore, that's when I was like, I don't know what that phrase did in my head, but I'm like, huh. Because he had threatened to leave. He's driven away, packed his cars, threatened suicide, a lot of that type of stuff too. Like, I'm going to kill myself. And so, domestic violence, just without punching.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
So,
And
bullying.
lest anybody has anybody listening now, if you think that it's any less impact on the human being just because there's no physical violence, you're wrong.
Yeah.
It has just as big of a negative impact on people. There doesn't have to be physical violence for it to be domestic violence.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to.
Oh, no, it absolutely does not. And a lot of times they believe, I've read some materials and everything, and they believe that psychological abuse is actually far
worse,
more permanently detrimental.
Yeah.
And oh my
Yeah.
gosh, even being away and, oh my word, it is so hard. And then being in a different relationship, oh God. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. My body is just like any micro change in energy or behavior. Someone might be like, I'm just having an off day, and I'm already like, oh my God, what did I do? What's wrong? I broke something once, and I was just freaked out the whole day. I'm like, oh, he's gonna be so mad at me, and I'm so afraid to oh my God, yeah. Even though you don't need to be, your body is so conditioned. Oh my word. That aside. Probably, let's see, we'll seal that up with this, and then I probably have to talk about my guitar player now, who's amazing, and who I gotta pump up because I may lose him to the global scene, the global music scene one day, because he's just I don't think so. Besides, he said if he ever went on tour, I could get an RV and follow him around an RV, and I'd be a VIP at every concert. I mean, he's my best friend in the entire world. So,
So I chuckle because I'm going to Memphis with Nikki Jones.
oh yeah, I saw that. That's
Yeah, and
awesome.
so we have become really good friends,
Yep.
us and the entire band, the Nikki
Yeah.
Jones band. And so, like, she said the same thing. Like, you have a VIP wherever I go, and no
Yep.
matter what happens, like,
See, you know how that, yeah. Well,
But we have been at this for almost 2 hours
oh
now.
my gosh, of course, Joe.
No, this has been fabulous.
It
But I
has
do
been.
want to circle back to that piece
Yeah.
about like your music
Yeah.
now, because I want people to like. We've gone through this amazing journey, you and I,
Yeah.
about all of these things. And where can people find more information about you and
Oh
your
yeah.
band?
Oh yeah, we're talking about music and the band.
Yeah.
Well, I do have an amazing band. I
Yes, you
believe. I
do.
believe. I mean, there are still personnel changes.
Yeah.
We just got a new. We had to get a new drummer, a new drummer, because our drummer previous to this guy went on. He was already with one national touring act, and I'll bring up the name because it's Murder by Death.
Okay.
And they are big. They're indie rock, kind of dark, of course, but
Yeah.
great band. And they are out of Indiana, so they're huge in Canada and they're huge all along in the Midwest. But they've played shows here before. Oh, they're coming soon. I get to go finally see them in person. But he just got picked up also with another national touring act, Billy Liar out of Scotland, punk band. So I know, like, and I've seen them, and they're very good, very like punk rock, but also with a very heavy Green Day leaning sound.
Oh,
So
nice.
fun. They're
Nice.
awesome. They're amazing. Yeah. So getting to see him play with them in their kind of infancy stage, and now they're just blown up, right?
Yeah.
Especially, of course, in the Europe racket circuit over there. But great band. But yeah, to have two touring bands. He's like, man, I gotta. He's like, you can keep me on hand as a sub, but I'm gonna have to leave the band because I'm just gonna be so busy touring and spending a lot of time doing this around the country. So there's that. Newest guy is named Adam. He's played in some cover bands before, but he's been kind of quiet. He's also, that's the other thing. I have a knack for attracting people from out of state or out of the area. And for some reason, it works for them. I was Dave's first friend when he came to Portland, actually. Like, he had no friends. So my band actually were his first friends. I was his first friend, and then my bandmates were his first friends. So yeah, we've disc golfing together, just
I love
barbecues,
that.
food
Yeah.
carts, everything. So yeah, we do things as a band. Helps us be really tight together on stage, but also in rehearsal space, right? We can have fun and laugh, but all pros. We do our work and we come together, and rehearsal is more fine tuning and tightening things up, and and spending time with each other too. It's huge. It's a huge relief for Brian because he's got kids at home and work and jobs and stress and money, and when you're playing the music, just all of that stuff just goes away for a minute, and it's very nice. So yeah, my guitar player now, Chris, who was a sub, scrambled to learn all of our music for a 4-hour wedding thing we did outdoor. It's a 4 hours, and he learned the music in 4 days
Wow.
because Val had fallen and sprained his wrist and could not play.
That's
Chris
impressive.
steps in. He came to our one and only rehearsal we were even able to have, and I'm just every song, it was like almost immaculate, and I'm just sitting there. My bass player is going, holy crap, Dave at the time, and his standards are way high. And then we do the show, and Chris is just pulling it off, and he comes dressed because we all, I'm a stickler for that, how we present ourselves on stage. We have a color scheme, we have a kind of a look for us that works.
Yeah.
And these young guys are really good at pulling it off. But man, seeing him up there playing music and just holding his own and just handling everything like a total professional. And he is the kindest, Everybody says this about him. Chris, my guitar player and best friend, kindest, most uh, emotionally intelligent person I have ever met in my entire life.
Those are good people to be
Listening skills, validation, just so workable, so diplomatic about everything. Kind, but he is a pro. He does his homework. He will, speaking of nerds, he sits there. I saw his band play yesterday, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I worked like 16 hours the last 2 days dialing in my tones, guitar tones," and that's what he does. He will sit there and work on guitar tones like as soon as he gets off work, pew, guitar tones all day long until like 1 o'clock in the morning. He takes his craft so seriously. Sorry, and
Yeah.
so he's an excellent player. I just, God, you gotta watch him play Purple Rain. Good. Gab Val killed it. Chris. There's a man named Marty McRae who you may or may not know. He used to play guitar in Random Pressure around here, huge band. Um, Marty McRae came and played a couple songs with us one song, a special song as a guest on our show once. And about Chris, he said, "Oh my gosh, yeah, it was so fun to be able to play that Pink Floyd song with you guys." But he said, in reference to Chris, he smeared me across the mat with Purple Rain. So if you want to hear somebody, rival Prince himself, and I don't know, I almost want to say play it better. You got to see this guy put down Purple Rain, because it's just, that's why we do it. And Sweet Child of Mine, note for note verbatim, he is so good. I sing that one, and oh my God, the challenge. Yeah, we have a lot of fun. We're a diverse band. Always trying to add new music. It's easier when we have steady personnel.
Right. Yeah.
My sweet Steven just had to leave too a couple months ago. So we've got a new keyboard player who I really, really like. Well, Steven started with us when he was 20. And he also came on as a sub and learned all of the music in like 4 days. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And he played saxophone also. So I'm like, will you stay? And he stayed with us for 2 years, which is amazing for a person of that age, that young. But he mixes music. He does a lot of electronic music and DJing now, and he teaches people how to do music production, which is where he wanted to be. So
Yeah.
he's like trying to pursue his career real heavily. And he's doing a great job, and his Instagram is Snowblind. You can find him because I'm plugged into him. My band's name is Dance Floor Mafia. I know I'm like blabbing. None of this
No,
even
you're
has
good.
anything to do with the music, except for it does.
It does. It totally does. And so, Dance Floor Mafia,
Yeah.
you have a website?
We, you know, we do, but it's not active right now. So just hold off on that.
Okay.
But we do have a Facebook page. Yeah, so we had a huge Facebook page. It was just Dance Floor Mafia. Basically, it was so easy to find. We had over 1,500 followers on our Facebook page, and that was all organic. Just
Yeah.
developed over time. It took probably 5 years to get to that place. And yeah, I was detrimentally hacked. My Meta suite was hacked because somebody somehow hacked into my email account that was connected to my Facebook account, and connected a malicious Instagram to everything on Facebook. Shut it all down. That's my own personal Facebook page. It was my band Facebook page. Actually, my business one for the real estate as well. And then another personal one that I mean, just it all. My Meta suite, I lost it all and cannot be retrieved. So, because the only way to retrieve it is by logging into the malicious Instagram account that hacked in to my email account and did all, it's awful, and I can't do anything about it. So I had to start fresh, and it has been a real struggle to build it all back up. I mean, I had history and photos and video footage and followers. And Yeah, I might have 130 followers on our page now, which is terrible because if you're trying to book a venue that doesn't know you yet, they're looking, they're going,
First place
you're
they
just,
look. Yeah.
it's like, oh, you guys don't understand.
Yeah.
So Dance Floor Mafia dash DFM because I couldn't have the same name of
Right.
the one that was hacked.
Oh,
And actually, it's so funny. My personal Facebook page is just my name, Joanna Bewley, but I had to I couldn't even use all of my own demographic information because it knew Facebook knew right away, or assumed right away that I was replicating the bad,
yeah.
personal Facebook page too. They're like, "Oh, we're sorry, you cannot." So I'm lying about my birthday. My birthday's not correct, but you know what?
Doesn't matter.
Sure, I'm 32.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't
people are like, "How old are you?" You know what? Some people,
None of your
these
business.
ladies are like, when we first met you, we thought you were 35. So I'll take it. I'm not, but I'll take
Well,
it.
Joanna, thank you so much. This has been an amazing. I'm telling you, this has been an amazing interview. It really has. And
Sorry, guys.
apologize for nothing.
It's so weird because everything is all interwoven.
Yeah.
Music is very healing,
That's life.
and music also gets very affected by life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I pride myself in all of these conversations is there's no two people on the planet that have the same journey.
Yeah.
Like not even
Yeah.
identical twins.
Yep. Yeah.
And
That's
so
true.
when you get to hear people's stories and their journey in music and how they got to be, it's all relevant
Yeah.
and it's all good.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. This was interesting and fun. I didn't even know what to expect. So, yeah.
Yeah. So thank
Yeah,
you very
appreciate
much.
it.
And I'll end the show as always in the show, folks. Be kind. We're all on the same planet. We share the same air. And life would just be easier if we were kind to one another. Joanna, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it a lot. We'll keep in touch.
You got it.